Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Tuesday the 7th of July. This is Kim Watson speaking for Ezeetrader. Looking at the euro dollar first, and it was noted yesterday that the chances of a Greek default has changed from somewhere between 40 to 50% to more likely 65% over the last few days now with the vote, etc. Now we've got the euro just consolidating effectively, which, for bearing in mind 65% believe it's going to, or the chances of it defaulting is 65%, would suggest it ain't going to move too much. And if a solution is found for Greece, perhaps we may see some sort of rally. We'll see. Although some believe that if the default's there, if a solution is found, it's going to cost the eurozone more money. So there's always a chance it could fall on good news or on bad news or good news. So there we go. Anyway, for now, the euro, as we see it at the moment, is really, it doesn't show it on the daily so much because of the big gap. But for the majority of yesterday, it consolidated, and it's really consolidating at the moment. And it's pretty much the pattern across all of the markets. All the pairs, should I say. What we got here is just coming down a tad at the moment. It's just sort of testing this lower trend line that you can see on the analyses. Already hit the daily pivot. Didn't quite get up to yesterday's weekly pivot, which if we do see any sort of rallies and we break the top side of this, we could be on for, along with the daily R1. However, any break, and we've really just got to follow the trend, and at the moment, well, there isn't a great trend, but the original trend was to the downside, so we'd be looking towards the S1 area and well, the Sunday evening lows. Looking at the pound, the picture's not too dissimilar in the sense of the original downward trend. We've got this the possibility, I can draw it on now. Actually, I couldn't draw it before because the line was still a bit too positive, but we've got this possibility of breaking out of this this sort of flaggy triangular wedge pattern. If it breaks to the upside, we've still got the weekly pivot untouched again. It ties up with the Friday highs and the S1 just above, R1 just above. And if it does start failing, well, maybe yesterday's lows in the R1. So pretty simple if we could get any clear movement. Yesterday it was pretty choppy and quite difficult, well, impossible to trade for a long period unless you wanted just to sit being chopped up. Looking at dollar yen, and well, again, it filled the gap, it consolidated. You see on the 4 hourlies it's much more consolidated. We're particularly pretty range bound. Already hit the monthly pivot, weekly pivot. And the monthly pivot. Not an easy one. Although its daily pivot is below, so there's the possibility if it was to break down for it to target that, and then maybe look at prior lows from yesterday. Looking at different levels from there, maybe even down to its S1 if it's really gained a bit of strength. Any weakness, well, really just looking at yesterday's highs, it's a bit more range bound. It's a bit more difficult as it's sitting at the moment. Maybe the 200 MA that's sitting above there, and then the R1 potentially. Okay, so dollar yen, and finally the Aussie dollar. Now the Aussie dollar, they've left interest rates as is. Yesterday we consolidated where we were sort of sitting there. Again, more consolidation. We've now done a triple bottom though, leading into the news this morning. It was coming back down towards those lows, triple bottomed. Now the support aspect for the Aussie has disappeared from the buy stops, and there's a stack of sell stops sitting above, which may just provide resistance, but a lot of them are just a bit further on, so we could just see some further consolidation. Maybe a push, a break to the upside beyond that 50 could see us coming back up to yesterday's highs. Okay, would certainly be a potential target. We've still got the weekly pivot untouched as well, so any sort of sustained rallies could see us target that sort of area. although it's looking relatively weak at the moment in terms of range and the pattern. So we'll see. Just have to wait and see how this will runs out. Likewise, if it goes back down for another test of those lows, well, then potentially we are selling it further. The original target that was sort of set and they were looking for was about 75. Well, we're below that at the moment, so we're now below their sort of suggested target of where they would like the Aussie to be, effectively, in terms of fair value. Okay, news-wise today, we do have some news out. We've already had the interest rate, obviously, for Australia, which was left untouched as expected. Today we got manufacturing production for the UK at 9:30, which can give a bit of a kicker. We got Eurogroup meetings, the Euro Summit. We got Merkel meeting the French president. So we've got plenty going on today, which we may get some snippets out about Greece, of course, from that as well. Now, I did hear yesterday, maybe the 20th before we see any, so another prolonged period before we see any sort of answer to what's going on at the moment. But perhaps we'll see some comments beforehand, most likely. Finishing the day just after midday at 1:30, we've got trade balance out for Canada and US. They're not major movers, but in the current markets they may create sufficient volatility. And there's the at 3 o'clock we've got the NIESR GDP estimate for the UK. Again, this one barely moves the market too much. Right, have a great one. Bye for now.